Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is floor. F-L-O-O-R.
Really?
You bet your life. The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, a comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
Let's not go overboard. It's only me. Well, here I am again with $1,000 for one of our couples tonight. Mr. Fenneman, who's first to try for the $1,000?
We invited some wives of college professors to the program tonight, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Mrs. Dorothy Robbins. Her partner is a memory expert, Mr. David Roth. And here they are. Folks, come in here and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, folks. Welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say the secret word and divide $100. It's a common word, something you'll find around the house. Mrs. Robbins, huh? You're the college professor's wife, eh?
Yes, I am.
Where are you from?
I was born in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I admire this audience. That's the first time anybody's mentioned Brooklyn without the whole audience going into hysterics.
I'm surprised, too.
I'm surprised and gratified, too. This must be a very high-class audience. You're from Brooklyn, huh? I'll call you Dorothy, huh?
Fine.
And you can call me Dorothy, too. How long have you been married, Mrs. Robbins?
17 years.
Has it been happy all along?
Oh, yes.
Been very. And what college is your husband a professor?
At UCLA.
What subject does your husband teach?
Business administration.
I see. And is he good at it?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Does he ever advise you about your checkbook at the end of the month?
Well, he tries to organize me.
And has he been very successful?
Well, when I'm organized, I can't find things.
Well, that must make it very pleasant around the house, huh? And Mr. David Roth, I'll just call you Dave, huh?
Correct.
You can call me Dorothy. Now, let's see. What is it you do, Mr. Roth?
Why, I'm a memory expert.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Where are you from, Mr. Roth?
Well, I was born in Milwaukee.
Uh-huh. Well, no wonder you're a memory expert. Anything from Milwaukee is bound to have a head on it. Are you married?
Oh, yes.
Any children?
One.
Well, you are a memory expert, all right. You remember everything, don't you? How old are you, Mr. Roth?
Oh, I'm past 50.
Oh, when did you pass it, Mr. Roth? And how fast were you going?
Pretty fast.
How much past 50?
Well, quite a bit. My wife rather I wouldn't tell my age.
Would you tell your wife's age?
No, I wouldn't dare to do that.
And you're the professor's wife,
That's
aren't you,
right, yes.
Dorothy?
Mm-hmm.
My memory is improving already, isn't it? And all it took was a short conversation with Mr. What did you say your name was? What did you say your name was?
Oh, Roth.
Roth. My eyes are not what they used to be. I don't remember anything very well. I reckon you were the fellow who was here a minute ago, weren't you, Mr. Roth? Now, tell me, Mr. Oglethorpe, how did you happen to become a memory expert? When you were a little boy, was it your ambition to become an elephant?
No, I'll tell you. I was a boy in high school in Cincinnati.
You were a boy in high school?
A boy in high school.
Well, that I'm sure of. Huh?
And I was about 15 years...
Were you ever a girl in high school, Mr.
And I was about 15 years of age, and I found that my memory wasn't any good. So I tried to devise a method so I could at least pass my examinations. And that's how I got to be a memory expert.
I see. You know, I devised a method to help pass examinations, too, but they threw me out of school for it. I was the West Point of my time. Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at the $1,000 question. But right now, I want you to pay attention to something real important.
In one amazing test after another, DeSoto's superior performance has been proved again and again. In the famous waterproof ignition test, a new DeSoto is driven at higher than usual speed through a water-flooded street. Water is allowed to splash right up over the engine, reaching almost every part of the ignition system. Yet the new DeSoto keeps right on running without missing a beat. To you, waterproof ignition means your new DeSoto will start in even the wettest weather. And what a ride DeSoto gives you. The famous DeSoto road tests have proved that DeSoto's Oriflow shock absorbers give the smoothest ride ever known. Why, the bumps just melt right out from under you. And DeSoto's sensational blowout tests have proved the value of safety rim wheels. With an ordinary car, a blowout may cause the tire to leave the rim and may throw the car out of control. But with DeSoto's amazing safety rim wheel, special protective ridges hold the tire securely on the rim and allow the driver to bring the new DeSoto to a sure, safe stop. Yes, friends, in one amazing test after another, DeSoto's superior performance has been proved again and again with waterproof ignition, Oriflow shock absorbers, safety rim wheels, and a host of other exciting features. See it now at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
All right, now let's see how well you work together as a team. George, would you mind explaining the rules?
Here are the rules. You bet as much of your $20 as you want on each of 4 questions, and the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $1,000 question later in the show.
All right, here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected capital cities of the world. Here's your first question. How much of the 20 are you going to bet?
15. 15.
15. What is the capital city of Denmark?
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen is right.
Well, you're on your way. You have $35.
Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. How much of the 35 are you going to bet on your second question?
30.
30? What is the capital city of Bolivia?
We're stuck.
Well, it's La Paz, or La Paz, L-A, capital P-A-Z. That's a tough one. That's too bad. How much have they got now?
You dropped down to $5.
Oh, well, that's a shame. Here's your third question. How much of the $5 you going to risk now?
Was that 4?
4.
$4. All right. What is the capital city of Poland?
Warsaw.
Warsaw is right. Please.
Well, you're on your way again. You have $9.
Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the $9 you going to risk?
Well, all of it.
All of it. All right. All
Shoot
of
the
it.
works. What is the capital city of Argentina?
Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires is right.
And you wind up with a grand total of $18.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
Just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected some new parents to be on the show tonight, Groucho. And here they are, Alexander Podgorny of the United States Navy and Mrs. Podgorny. Come in here and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, kids, for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say the secret word and win $100. It's a common word, something you find around the house. Barbara and Alexander Podgorny. Huh?
Yes, that's right.
That's a kind of a curious name. What kind of a name is that, Alex?
It's a Polish name, sir.
Polish?
Yes, sir.
Oh, are you in the Polish Navy?
Afraid I'm not, sir.
No. Well, don't be afraid. You ought to be very happy that you're not. What is your first name, Mrs. Podgorny?
Barbara.
Barbara?
Yes.
Well, that's a lovely name, and you're a very
Thank
attractive
you.
girl. And you're a very lucky Pole.
Thank you.
How old are you, Alex?
I'm 28, sir.
28. And how old is your baby?
He's 4 months today.
Alex is 4 months?
No, our baby is.
Oh, well, where are you from, Barbara?
I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas.
Where?
Corpus Christi, Texas.
Texas, huh? Oh. There they are, the people from Brooklyn again. How old are you, Alex?
I'm 28, sir.
28, huh? And is your name Mr. Roth, did you say?
No, it isn't.
What did you say your name was?
I'm Barbara Podgorny.
Oh, Barbara Podgorny. You're Mr. Roth, huh? How do you like being married to a sailor, Barbara? Is he gobs of fun?
Yes, he is. He really is.
Is he?
Mm.
Does he have a girl in every port?
No, he doesn't.
How do you know he hasn't got any other girls?
Well, he's land-based.
Oh, he's land-based?
Yes, he is. He doesn't go to sea.
He doesn't go to see who? That's a kind of an incomplete statement, isn't it?
No, what I mean is he's stationed up at Point Magoo.
Well, where is Point where?
Point Magoo?
Point Magoo?
Yes.
Is that anything like Fibber Magoo and Molly?
No.
Well, what is a Point Magoo? I don't understand this, huh?
Point Magoo is the Naval Air Missile Test Center.
Well, where is Point Magoo?
It's about 60 miles up the coast, I believe.
Your husband is at Point Magoo, 60 miles up the coast?
Yes, he is.
Well, who is this imposter?
That's my husband.
Why are you stationed at Point Magoo? What is that?
Point Magoo is a Naval Air Missile Test Center. It's the...
What do you mean, a missile? Is that anything like mistletoe?
Mistletoe, sir, is something you kiss a girl under.
Not me. I kiss a girl under her nose. Some of those noses look like Point Magoo, too. Tell me something about these guided missiles, will you? How do they work, Alex?
Well, it's an experimental and testing of guided missiles is what it is, sir. And outside of that, it's restricted. There's nothing much more I can tell you.
This is top secret stuff?
Yes, it is.
You're not allowed to disclose anything?
Nothing at all, sir.
In other words, it's none of my business. Is that right?
That's right, absolutely.
You'll thank me to keep my nose out of it.
Right.
Well, it may interest you to know that I can tell you plenty about guided missiles. I used to be one.
You used to be one.
I was the first man ever shot out of a cannon. I was doing fine, too, until I got a swell head. Where were we? Oh, yes. Tell me, Mr. Roth. Mr. Podgorny, we were talking about your new baby. It happens we weren't, but it's time we did, don't you think?
Oh,
What is this little youngster's name?
His name is Russell Anthony Podgorny.
Well, that's a fine name. There's a lot of eloquence to it, huh? Well, it's a wonderful thing having a new baby. Right now, I'd give anything to be in your shoes. You know why?
No, I don't.
I've got a nail in mine. Well, now that you have a baby, do you get more money from the Navy, Alex?
No, I don't, sir. You have to have 2 or more children before you get any additional allowances.
Is that so? You mean the Navy doesn't give a toot for one baby, eh? That doesn't seem fair. Isn't there anything you can do about it?
No, sir.
Well, you could file a complaint with the Secretary of the Navy, couldn't you?
I'm afraid he wouldn't get it.
Does Alex ever bother to amuse the baby?
Oh, yes, he does quite a lot.
Could you show us how he amuses the baby?
Well, he'll go boodly, 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 or... Look here now.
I guess it's just as well if you don't have another kid. Seriously, Barbara, as the MC say, does this really amuse the baby? Boodly, 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 boodly.
Oh, yes, he just coos and laughs.
And this is what he does?
Yes,
Would
he
you
does.
show us how you do it, Alex?
I'd rather not.
But you do it to the baby, eh?
Yes, I do.
Well, Alex, it may amuse the baby now, but in 10 years that boy's going to be worried about his own man. Well, you're a wonderful representative young American couple, and I think the United States Navy and America can be proud of kids like you two.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you'll go far.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very, very much.
I'm sure you'll go even further than Point Magoo, you two.
We hope to.
You may even have to go to your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
No.
And you won't make any mistake if you go there. Do I sound like Godfrey? I have some tea here that I would like to dip in. Now you're going to play. They eat and drink on that show. I get nothing. Did you ever try to eat a DeSoto or a Plymouth? They're wonderful writing qualities, but you cannot eat anything on them except an occasional inner tube. All right, now you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at the $1,000 question. You run your $20 into more than there are other couples. I can't tell you how much you have to win, but Mr. Fenneman is going to remind our listeners.
The professor's wife and the memory expert won $18.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected instruments played by orchestra leaders. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
What do you think?
How much you going to bet?
$13.
$13 on a dead man's chest, huh? All right. What instrument does Carmen Caballero play?
Piano, sir.
The piano is correct.
Well, you're off to a good start. You have $33.
Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. Now, how much of the 33 you going to bet this time?
30.
30.
30. What instrument does Xavier Cugat play?
Violin, sir.
Violin is right.
You now have $63.
And here's your third question. How much are you going to bet this time?
Okay.
62, sir.
62. 62. What instrument does Freddie Martin play? Talk it over.
I don't know.
Take a guess if you don't know.
I believe it's the piano, sir.
No, I'm sorry. It's a saxophone.
You
should have known
it was some
that.
kind of a horn, but I didn't know
Why
what
don't you
kind
kids
it
go?
was.
I'm sure you've gone to dance halls and stuff.
We've
You've seen
danced to Freddie Martin.
We sure have.
It's a shame you
Well,
don't have one.
You know what
dollar.
what was the trouble, don't you? You two were watching each other instead of the orchestra leader.
Oh.
Now you're down to $1.
Yes.
It's a good thing you haven't got that second kid. But the Navy is still pretty steady pay, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right. Now, how much you going to bet?
We'll bet the dollar.
You're going to bet the whole dollar?
Right.
I'm gonna buy
If you lose this, you can dive through a porthole. Huh? All right. What instrument does Woody Herman play?
Clarinet, I believe.
Clarinet is right.
You only won $2.
I'll give you one question, on. If you get it right, you win $10. Think hard now. No help from the audience. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Who was buried in Grant's tomb?
Couldn't be Grant.
General Grant is right. Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
Just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected a wrestling referee and a woman who works in a candy factory. And here they come, Mrs. Betty Whitener and Mr. Mike Ruby. Folks,
up your
come in here
mind,
and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to You Bet Your Life. Say the secret word and you'll divide $100. It's a common word, something you'll find around the house. Betty Whitner?
Whitener.
Whitener, huh? And Mike Ruby, huh? Where are you from, Mrs. Whitener?
I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee, just below Lookout Mountain.
There's those people from Brooklyn again. You're from Lookout Mountain, eh? And what do you look out for while you're up there, Betty?
Well, on a clear day, you can look out over the mountain, see 7 states.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very famous
Do you know what
place.
7 states you can see?
Well, Georgia and Alabama and Kentucky and I can't think of the rest of them right now.
Well, you probably only went halfway up, huh? What do you do, Mrs. Whitener, besides spying on 7 states?
I work for Alpha Fresh McFarland.
Well, have you complained to your husband? What do you mean, awful fresh? What's the matter with him?
Well, he's not fresh, but his candy is.
Oh, I see. That's the name of the candy. Huh? Awful fresh candy. I see. That's rather clever, isn't it? Huh? Are you there? Well, just how fresh is it? If I bit into a maraschino cherry, would it squirt me in the eye or something?
Well, it's liable to, because they break down after a certain length of time, and it's liable
Yeah,
to.
well, who doesn't, huh? That's the history of my life, Mrs. Widener. Let's not become nostalgic here, huh? What is your job at this fudge foundry?
I'm a dipper.
What do you mean you're a dipper?
I dip in chocolate.
You must be an awful mess when you get home at night. Well, how did they get the nuts in the peanut brittle? That's always puzzled me.
Well, the candy maker that makes the peanut brittle, he goes out to the nut house and... and he gets the nuts, and he brings it back in, and they have to weigh all their ingredients. Then he takes the syrup and the glucose and the sugar and all the ingredients that he puts into it.
Well, is it easy to get somebody out of the nut house? You're Mike Ruby, you're a wrestling referee.
That's right.
What's necessary to be a referee, a wrestling referee? I've been watching it on television.
First you have to go down to the State Athletic Commission and
Now,
get
wait just a moment. You're not going to stand there and tell me that wrestling is considered an athletic event.
Well, yes, it is. It's supervised
Since when?
by the... Well, I guess ever since they've had an athletic commission in the state of California.
Is that
anyhow.
so? I would think the Screen Actors Guild had more to do with that. Don't take a slug at me. I may come back with some peanut. But how do you get a license? Is your name Mr. Roth? Did you say?
Mike Ruby.
Oh, Mike Ruby. Do you have to get a license? Do you have to prove that you can't see 2 feet without your glasses?
No, you have to take a very rigid physical and written examination to get a license.
I've seen a lot of wrestling on television, and I have a question. How is it all I ever see is the referee bending over when I watch a wrestling match?
Well,
You know, you fellas could make a fortune selling advertising. There's one thing I've been avoiding, and I wish you'd give me a frank answer. Is wrestling really honest?
Sure.
Look, I'm not a 6-year-old child, you know. What makes you think it's honest?
Well, I'm a former wrestler myself.
And you regard that as evidence? Huh? I better be careful. He'd throw a hammerlock on me. If you'd care to make a statement about wrestling, you can go right ahead, and I'll be quiet. I promise.
Well, I'll admit there are some crooked athletes in the wrestling game, but I don't think there's any more crooked men engaged in the wrestling game than in any other sport or occupation. Or
In other words, what goes on in your wrestling... In other words, what goes on in your wrestling arena is honest, fair, and above reproach. Is that it?
Sure.
Well, in that case, I own the crookedest television set in this town. Well, it's been most enlightening talking to you two, and next time I bite into a chocolate cream, I won't be surprised if I find Gorgeous George in there. Now you're going to play You Bet Your Life. You beat our other couples, and you'll get a chance at the $1,000 question. Can't tell you how much you have to win, but Gorgeous George is going to remind our listeners. That's Mr. Fenneman I'm referring to.
The professor's wife and the memory expert lead with $18.
All right, here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected nicknames of sports immortals. Is that right?
That's right.
Or immortal sports. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
15.
15. Who was known as the Sultan of Swat?
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth is right.
You have $35.
Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. How much of the 35 are you going to bet on your second?
32 and a half.
What tennis player was known as Little Miss Poker Face? Take a guess if you don't know.
Helen Wills.
Helen Wills Moody is right.
You now have $67.50.
And here's your third question. How much of the $67.55 are you going to bet?
50.
50.
$65.
$65.
With you?
Yes.
All right. What French boxer was known as the Orchid Man?
Gorgeous George's Carpentier.
Carpentier is right. I just wanted you to know that I knew the incorrect pronunciation. Huh? And here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much have they got?
I think they have $132.50.
How much are you going to go for?
Shoot it.
Shoot it?
Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
This the last question?
This is the coup de grace. What am I saying? Who was known as the Galloping Ghost?
Red Grange.
Red Grange is right. I'll give him a big kiss. He answered all those questions.
You now have a grand total of $265, and that means that the referee and the chocolate dipper with $265 in just 1 minute get a chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question. Folks, one thing you can always count on is expert attention for your car when you take it to a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. No matter what service your car may need, whether it's an engine tune-up, a winter checkup, or just a simple lubrication job, your DeSoto Plymouth dealer has the equipment to do it right. And he has the master technicians who know how to use that equipment, too. Yes, your DeSoto Plymouth dealer is the man to see when your car needs service of any kind. And he has complete paint facilities, too, to give you a top job, whether your car needs an overall paint job or a touch-up to prevent rust and corrosion in the bad weather driving ahead. So, if you want to put your car in top running condition at a price that's fair, take it where you see the famous sign of better service, the friendly sign of a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. And here comes the chocolate dipper and the referee, all set for the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question.
Now, Betty and Mike, here's a chance to really wiggle yourself into some real big money now. Here we go for $1,000. I give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you. Think carefully, and please no help from the audience. Here it is. It's a tough one. In 1947, the ECA, or Marshall Plan, came into being to help the peoples of Europe. For $1,000, tell me what do the letters ECA stand for? And I want you to tell me exactly. Now think it over. You got 15 seconds.
Was it? I don't know. Go ahead, try.
All right, kids, take a stab. What do you say? It's got to be precise now.
European Cooperative Association, but that's not it.
Well, you were flirting
know.
with it. It's a tough question. I didn't know it either. It's Economic Cooperation Administration.
Gee, it's close.
I'm sorry. And our source is the Encyclopedia Americana. That's the correct answer. Anyhow, they won how much?
$265 in the quiz.
Well, that's not too bad. That means the big question next week will be worth $1,500. Congratulations and thanks to both of you and to all of our contestants on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Good night, Betty.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at the same time for the Groucho Marx Show, when the big question will be worth $1,500. And don't miss Groucho's television show, also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, tell them Groucho sent you. Good night, folks, and remember, just be sure to visit your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Folks, here's a reminder that when you contribute to the United Red Feather campaign this month, you contribute to many campaigns in one. Yes, to the community health and welfare services of most cities have been added the national services of the United Defense Fund. So remember, give the United Red Feather way. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell, directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith, music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast. Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is Sky, S-K-Y.
Really?
You bet your life! The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
What's the last name? Well, here I am again with $1,500 for one of our couples tonight. Mr. Fetterman, who's first to try for the $1,500?
Well, just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected two young people who said they'd like to get married someday. And here they are, Miss Bobette Bentley and Mr. Les Oots. Come in here and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, youngsters, for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say the secret word and divide $100. It's a common word, something you see every day. Bobette Bentley, that's you, I presume.
That's me.
Very attractive girl, Miss Bentley. How old are you?
18.
18. Oh, you're pretty tall for 18, aren't you?
I sure am.
What are you, about 5'9"?
About that.
Well, it's a lot of girl and pretty classy, too. And Les Oots,
That's right.
if you think I'm going to look at you tonight, you're crazy. Huh? How old are you, Mr. Oots? I'll oots him out of everything. Huh?
24.
Where are you from, Mr. Oots? I usually call him by that first name, but Oots really fascinates me.
I'm from Haley, Idaho.
Haley, Idaho. That sounds like a yodel, huh? Haley, Idaho. Why aren't you married, Bobette, a beautiful girl like you?
Well, I'm still young, and I feel that I have plenty of time, and I'm enjoying myself, and no one has asked me.
It's kind of a non sequitur. You mean you're enjoying yourself because nobody asked you? Or nobody asked you and that's why you're enjoying yourself? Which is it?
Well, I'm still hopeful.
Well, I think you should be, huh? Why aren't you married, Mr. Oots?
Well, in my occupation, I never have a chance to learn to know a girl well enough.
What are you, a hermit?
That's it.
What sort of work do you do, Mr. O?
Well, I'm a ski instructor in Sun Valley, Idaho.
Oh, you're a ski instructor, huh? And where'd you say you were from, Schenectady? What is your racket? What is your job, Bobette?
I work at RKO Studios.
You work at RKO? Is that so? I used to work for RKO myself. Are you doing what I used to do there?
I don't think so.
Well, that explains why you're still working there. What is your function at RKO?
I'm a messenger girl.
A messenger girl?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you're not delivering messages, what do you do?
Well, I take the people around to the sets and show them the sights.
Oh, I remember. I was one of the sights you used to show the visitors. Did you see me there?
Yes, I believe I did, Mr. Marks. I saw you in the Studio Cafe.
In the Studio Cafe?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where I was working. Howard Hughes is very fussy. He won't let anybody wash his personal dishes but me. Has anything embarrassing ever happened to you as a messenger? What a ridiculous question that is. Huh?
Well, no, not exactly as a messenger girl. Something did happen funny to me while I was working there, however, on a weekend when I went to Balboa. Would you like to hear about it?
I certainly would. I'm all ears.
Well, I was...
Pretty near, anyway.
At Balboa, I was vacationing over the weekend, and I was in swimming. And I happened to meet a very cute boy. He was really darling. And we started talking, and we were really having a very
Don't
nice...
rub it in, Babette. Just say he's a cute boy and let it go at that, huh?
He was a
I've
cute
had
boy.
my moments, too, you know.
And we began talking.
You should have caught me around the McKinley administration. I was as hot as a firecracker in those days. And just about as interesting, too. Well, what happened while you were in the water with this...
So he asked me out dancing, and I was just about ready to say yes. But then I got out of the water, and he got out of the water, and he came up to about here. And so I refused the date, and I think he was very much relieved.
You think he'd have been embarrassed going out with a tall girl like you?
Well, if I wore low-heel shoes and walked on my knees, I guess he would have. Otherwise, I think so.
A little difficult to dance in that position, isn't it? Well, you're a nice couple, and I'd like to see you get more interested in each other, and I hope you will before the year is out. Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at the $1,500 question. But right now, I want you to forget each other and pay attention to this.
You've got a lot of pleasant surprises coming to you when you own a DeSoto. One of them is the thrill of discovering for yourself what a rugged, dependable car DeSoto is. In the very wettest weather, you can be sure of instant starting, constant running from that powerful DeSoto engine. And why? Because of DeSoto's famous waterproof ignition. Every spark plug, all ignition wires, are kept dry by special neoprene rubber covers. The entire distributor is of splash-proof construction, and the distributor cap is tightly fitted to shed water. In actual tests, the new DeSoto has been driven at faster than normal speeds through flooded city streets. The engine never once wavered, kept on running without missing a beat. Yes, you'll be proud when you discover, as thousands of DeSoto owners have, that your new DeSoto is dependable in all kinds of weather. See the new DeSoto tomorrow at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, the value jewel of the low-priced field.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected famous mustaches. Here's your first question. How much of the 20 will you bet?
Want me to tell them the rules first?
Yeah, I don't mind.
All right. You bet as
I'd
much.
like to hear them myself. Huh?
Well, I go this way. You bet as much of your $20 as you want on each of 4 questions, and then the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $1,500 DeSoto Plymouth question later on in the show.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected famous mustaches. Here's your first question. How much of the 20 will you bet?
15.
What is the name of Great Britain's mustache ex-prime minister?
How long do we have to answer these?
You have about an hour. But if you don't answer in 10 seconds, we'll have you bounced. Clement Attlee is right.
Well, you're on your way. You have $35.
Remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. How much of your $35 you're going to bet on your second question?
38.
38. Is there somebody in the audience that will loan this young couple $3? 31. Is that all right with you, Mr. Oots?
That's fine.
31.
So what is the name of the pop-eyed and walrus mustache singing comedian?
Jerry Colonna.
Jerry Colonna.
You're climbing. You have $66.
How much you going to bet now? 75?
64.
64. That's the $64 question, huh? The actor who plays the kindly Dr. Christian wears a mustache. What's his name?
Gene Herschel.
Gene Herschel is right.
You're really up there now. You have $130.
And here's your last chance to be the other couples. How much will you bet?
Bet 150. No, we'll bet.
Why don't you bet 200 this time?
$129.
All right. New York's governor has a famous mustache. What's his name?
Governor Dewey.
Tom Dewey is right.
You wind up with $259. Besides. Just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected a laundryman and a housewife, Groucho. And here they are, Mrs. Mary Genhart, Mr. Joseph Gribben. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to You Bet Your Life. Say the secret word and divide $100. It's a common word, something you see every day. Miss Mary Genhart, is that right?
That's right.
And Mr. Joe Gribben.
That's right.
Where are you from, Miss Genhart?
Genhart, that's right.
Genhart.
From Switzerland.
You're from Switzerland,
From
huh?
Lucerne.
From Lucerne?
Yes.
Would you like to go back to Switzerland?
Oh, yes, I would like to go for a visit.
Not permanently, though. Huh?
Oh, no.
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 I shot holes in that pretty fast, didn't I? You ever get homesick for Switzerland?
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, what do you get homesick for specifically?
Well, beautiful sceneries and mountains and lakes and, and also for the singing, yodeling, the Swiss cowbells.
Why is yodeling just confined to Switzerland? They don't yodel in Italy or Spain or Portugal, any of those countries, do they?
Well, I don't know. I think the idea where it's really originally started was when the herders go up to the mountains and they yodel from one mountain top to the other to one another as herders. I think that's...
Oh, that's where it started? Yeah.
I think so.
But what do the cows think of this yodeling? I should think after a couple of hours of yodeling they'd give nothing but oleo margarine. And Mr. Gribben, huh?
Yes.
You're a laundryman, is that
Yes,
right?
I'm a laundryman.
Well, I hope you clean up tonight. And if you do, I'll lose my shirt. But are you married, Mr. Gribben?
Yes, I am.
You've been through the ringer, eh?
Yes.
What laundry do you work for?
I work for the Peerless Laundry.
Peerless Laundry?
Yes, sir.
What do you do in your job?
Oh, I pick up dirty laundry in my truck and take it back clean.
You do it in your truck? You mean you stuff my old shirts in your radiator and it comes out of the exhaust pipe? No wonder my laundry comes back looking like 2 miles of bad road. Well, really, you make a charming couple, and it's been a pleasure talking with you. And if you need a new car, a used car, or a service on the car you've got, just remember your DeSoto Plymouth dealer is the man to see. Now you're going to play You Bet Your Life. Beat our other couples, and you'll get a chance at the $1,500 question. I can't tell you how much you have to win, but George is going to remind our listeners.
The messenger girl and the ski instructor won $259.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected old riddles. I'm sure everybody's familiar with these. See if you remember the answers. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
15.
$15. Huh? What has 4 wheels and flies? Talk it over.
4 wheels, flies.
Well, it's a garbage wagon. You should have known that. Huh? All right.
You now have $5.
Remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. That's the big money. Now, how much of the $5 will you bet in your second question?
3.
About 3, yes.
3. What do you lose when you stand up?
I'm just so nervous to think.
Sorry, I don't know the answer.
Well, it's your lap.
Your lap.
You now have $2.
The voice of doom over here. Huh? Here's your third question. How much of the $2 you going to bet?
It's $1.
$1. What state is round at both ends and high in the middle?
Ohio.
Ohio is right.
Oh, you're climbing again. You have $3.
All right, here's your last chance to beat the other couples. You going to bet the $3?
$2.
$2.
2?
Yes.
What is black and white and red all over?
Black and white and red all over.
I can't think. I just can't think.
A newspaper.
Newspaper.
Oh, Groucho, they went broke.
Well, we can't let them go away broke, eh? I'll give you this question. If you get it right, you win $10. Think hard now. No help in the audience. You ready? Who is buried in Grant's tomb?
Grant.
General Grant is right.
Right.
Who's that? Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
We asked for people with interesting occupations tonight, and from the volunteers in our studio audience, we selected Mrs. Marion Chavez and Mr. William Morrison. And here they are. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Well, welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say the secret word and win $100. It's a common word, something you see every day. Marion Chavez? Is that right? That's the way you pronounce it, Chavez? And Mr. William Morrison, huh? Mr. William Morrison, where are you from? Willie?
Willie, do you have to say Willie? I'd rather be called Bill.
I'll call you Bill now. Is there any particular bill that you're fond of, like a $5 bill or a $2 bill? $5 bill, okay. Are you married, Mr. $5 bill?
Yes, sir.
How did you meet your wife, Willie? Bill?
Bill. I met her at the
Suppose I call you Bill Willie and we let it go that way.
Okay.
That'll be the Missouri Compromise.
I met her at the University of California at Berkeley. I was living in the rear cottage of the house. She lived in front, and she used to run across the backyard with a garbage can. Many times I saw her on the run, and one day I said to her, I never see you walking. You're always running with that garbage can. I said, do you ever walk? And she said, yes, sometimes. And I said, would you like to walk with me? And she's been walking with me for 34 years.
And did she ever get rid of the garbage?
She still empties garbage.
How romantic can you get? Marion, how long have you been married?
19 years.
Have you been happy all those years?
Yes.
What sort of work does your husband do?
He's a magician.
A magician? Well, in that case, you're bound to be happy. Whenever things get rough, he just makes himself scarce. Well, what impressed you most the first time you saw him, Marion?
Well, a lot of things impressed me. I think what
Well, what
impressed me,
specifically, I mean?
the way he could swallow a whole chicken egg.
This is by far the most romantic duo we've ever had up here. What more could a girl want from a man than the talent to swallow a whole egg? Is he still able to swallow a whole egg?
Yes, that's his specialty.
You're a lucky girl. What sort of work do you do, Mr. Bill Willie?
I teach chemistry at Beverly Hills High School.
Oh. You teach chemistry. Sounds like very dangerous work. With a job like that, you could easily go to pieces, couldn't you? Why should kids take chemistry?
It's very important because, in a sense, the chemist is replacing the farmer. It's getting to a point, so many things are synthetic. We can make synthetic carrot juice. Why, we can get to a point without very...
Synthetic carrot juice?
Carrot juice. To get to a point where you can...
The real carrot juice is bad enough. You can imagine what the imitation.
Get to a point
I bet you've got every rabbit rooting for you, huh?
All you'll need is 2 or 3 pills a day.
That's all I need now. That's not quite true. I actually need 6. Well, now, I read on the bottles and the vitamin, it says B1 and B2. What is the difference between B1 and B2?
You mean boron, or the element boron? Or
I don't know what I mean, but I see this on the bottle. I rarely know what I mean, Mr. Morrison. Let's get that straight to begin with, huh?
Well, you want to know the difference between B1 and B2? That's probably about $3 a pound.
You make a lot of sense, Mr. Morrison. I think you should run for Senate or the Congress or something.
You will vote for me?
I certainly would. More than once, too. Huh? As is my custom. The only money I make during elections. Well, Marion, let's get back to your kind of magic. Do you help your husband?
Yes, I teach magic.
You teach magic? Where do you teach it?
Well, we have a school. It's the Chavez College of Magic.
Mm-hmm. And what do you teach there?
We teach sleight of hand, prestidigitation, and manual dexterity.
Oh, I used to know manual dexterity. Yeah. He used to do my gardening for quite some while. What is prestidigitation?
Well, that's the art...
Just about made it, too, huh?
That's the art
prestidigitation,
of...
Prestidigitation. Could you say that 5 times in a row fast,
I
Mr.
couldn't,
Morrison?
I don't believe. I wouldn't want to attempt it. No, sir.
You're not much of a gambler, are you?
Not on that.
There are things you'd gamble on, though. Huh?
There are.
What, for example?
Well, I'd gamble that the chemist will replace the farmer to a large extent sometime.
You mean in that case we'll then have the chemist's daughter instead of the farmer's?
That's right.
Well, you make a charming couple, and it's been enlightening talking to you. And, Willie, my advice to you is never trust a woman.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Willie really plays a deadpan, doesn't he? Now you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at the $1,500 question. I can't tell you how much you have to win, but George is going to remind our listeners.
The messenger girl and the ski instructor still lead with $259.
You ready? You selected nicknames of states, and you being a teacher, you ought to be pretty sharp on this.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. We have a relationship that's only been paralleled by Gromyko and Atchison. All right, how much you going to bet?
How much dough is you starting with?
Well, we neglected to tell you that, but since you're a teacher, we thought you could guess at it, huh? All right, you have $20. You selected nicknames of states, is that right? Now, you can bet any part of the $20 that you choose.
About $15, huh?
You know who he reminds me of? Ned Sparks used to be in the movie. Say, both my kids went to Beverly High. Did you teach either of them, Arthur and
I
Mary?
had Arthur,
You had Arthur?
and I gave him a B in biology.
Well, what does a B stand for? Bum?
Not bad.
Not bad.
I sent a note home to you on his exam paper one time.
Really? What did you say?
I was stuck at that time for somebody to come to the Boys League Assembly, which I was sponsoring, and the guy that was supposed to be there couldn't show up. So I said, I changed the grade at that time from a B to an A. I said on the bottom of the paper, "Dear Groucho, am stuck for a speaker. Have given Arthur, your son, an A in biology. Maybe you can help me out." And you answered it. The next morning he brought the paper back, and on it you said, "I'll be there, Groucho." And you were there at the high school. You gave a fine talk.
That's true.
True.
But I must say, Willie, if I had my choice, I would rather hear you talk than me.
I'd rather hear you.
And if you were a real smart fellow, you would quit that high school and go into vaudeville. That's what you wanted. You're much better than most of us that are on there.
I have my eye on your job.
Well, you may have your eye on it, but I've got my seat on it. All right, here we go. You're betting $15 on your first question. Here's the question. What state is known as the Hawkeye State?
We say that's Iowa.
I say it's Iowa, too, huh?
Well, you're off to a good start. You have $35.
Remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. How much of the 35 will you bet on your second question?
$34.15.
Boy, am I going to be good the next few weeks, huh? I'll do anything they ask me to. DeSoto Plymouth, DeSoto Plymouth, DeSoto Plymouth. All right, what state is known as the Sunflower State?
We think it's Kansas.
I think it's Kansas, too.
You now have $69.15.
$68.70.
All right, what state is known as the Gopher State?
Minnesota.
Minnesota is right.
You now have $137.85.
You're going to make a nervous wreck out of Fenneman. All right, what state is known... How much are they betting?
About $135.50.
Oh, let Willie figure it out. Huh?
About $135.62.
All right. What state is known as the Buckeye State?
We say it's Ohio.
Ohio is right. For answering all those questions, too.
Now, if my figures are right...
Is there a CPA in the audience?
7, 2. You wind up with $275.47, and that means that you, the magic teacher and the chemistry teacher, with $275.47 in just 1 minute, get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,500 question. Friends, I'd like to remind you about getting your car ready for colder weather.
Be sure to tell them, George, there's a lot more to it than just getting antifreeze and having your oil changed.
Well, that's right. If you expect your car to start on the coldest winter mornings, to shift smoothly, to operate efficiently, then the place for you to take it right away is to a DeSoto Plymouth dealers. First, for easier shifting on even the coldest days, your transmission will get the proper lubricants. For quicker winter starting, your battery will be checked. To handle the increased electrical load of winter driving, the DeSoto Plymouth dealer mechanics will step up the generator and check your spark plugs. The brakes of your car are especially vital in bad weather, so they'll be carefully serviced for safer winter stopping. The master technicians at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers will tune the engine of your car, too, to make sure it will give you economical operation mile after mile. And, of course, you'll get the proper oil, your radiator will be cleaned and flushed, you'll get a good antifreeze, all the things your car needs to give you worry-free operation even in the coldest weather. And believe me, you'll be amazed how little you pay for all this expert service for your car. So drive in for that cold weather checkup tomorrow, wherever you see the famous sign of better service, the friendly sign of a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. And here's the magic teacher and the chemistry teacher, the winning couple, all ready for the DeSoto Plymouth $1,500 question, Groucho. Go back.
Willie, you haven't changed a bit. Now, this will be the acid test of Beverly High School. Here we go for $1,500. I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you. Think carefully, and please no help from the audience. Here it is. In 1935, Persia officially adopted a new name. For $1,500, tell me, by what name do we know Persia today? All right, what is the name you two have decided upon?
Iran.
Iran is right. Well, that's, how much did they win now, total?
$275.47. Wasn't that right?
Don't forget the other part.
Well, congratulations from the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast. You bet your life.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at the same time for the Groucho Marx Show, when the big question will be worth $1,000. And don't miss Groucho's television show, also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, tell them Groucho sent you. Good night, folks, and remember, just be sure to visit your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Folks, here's a reminder from the National Safety Council. Courtesy and good judgment are two keys to highway safety. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell, directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith, music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast. Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is head, H-E-A-D.
Really?
You bet your life. The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
Nothing to get excited about. It's just little old me. Well, here I am again with $1,000 for one of our couples. Who's first to try for the $1,000?
Well, we selected some young people with interesting backgrounds from the volunteers in our audience tonight, and here they come. Miss Edna Rubin and Mr. Charles Laurie, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, youngsters, for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say the secret word and divide $100. It's a common word, something you always have with you. It says here. Miss Edna Rubin, huh?
Yes, sir.
And I presume you're Charles Laurie, huh?
That's right.
Where are you from, Edna?
I'm from one of the coldest spots in the United States, Duluth, Minnesota, at the head of the Great Lakes.
What you going to say from a deep freeze you were living in?
Just as bad. It's usually 40 degrees below zero there.
You said what?
I was...
There isn't anybody up here that knew that she had said head, including Edna. You and your partner here, you're going to split $100 between you. It's 50 for you and 50 for you.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Where are you from, Charlie? Charles?
From Cairo.
Cairo, huh? Cairo, Illinois?
Cairo, Egypt.
Oh, is there an Cairo in Egypt, too? Well, they stole it from Cairo, Illinois. I used to know a red-hot mummy from Egypt once. We were terribly wrapped up in each other. How long did you live in Egypt?
Well, a matter of 20 years.
Mm-hmm. And what was the matter with those 20 years? What have you been doing since you came here from Egypt?
Well, I've served in the army, and I've attended college.
Egyptian army?
No, the U.S. Army.
Oh, the U.S. Army. What kind of work do you do, Edna?
I'm a public stenographer in the Beverly Hills Hotel in Beverly Hills.
Is that so? What an odd place for the Beverly Hills Hotel to be, huh? Well, what are your duties there, Edna?
Well, I'm everyone's girl Friday. I just do everything.
How about Thursday? How are you? Have you always been a public steno, Edna?
No, not all the time. I once studied to be a court reporter.
Well, what did you do after that, Edna?
Well, I took a civil service test and had a very high rating, so I went to Washington to work for the Interstate Commerce Commission. I was the youngest member then of government service.
Is that so? Were all your jobs fun, Edna?
Well, it was very interesting, but I went back to Chicago, and I stayed there for a few months. Then I went out to Stanford University to work for an ichthyologist and a herpetologist.
A what?
This is at the Bureau of Fisheries. They study deep sea life, pilchards. They study Pacific Coast sardine. And,
what is a pilchard?
It's a Pacific Coast sardine.
Imagine going in a grocery store and asking for a can of pilchards. So?
Well, it was very boring because I didn't understand half of what I was doing there.
Well, there's not much to understand about a sardine, is there? Now, Charlie, what do you think of these stenographic adventures?
Well, nothing ever happened to me like that when I was a stenographer.
You were a stenographer?
That's right.
Well, what qualifications do you have?
Well, I can type pretty well, and I'm a pretty fast stenographer, bilingual.
Bilingual? You mean you're nearsighted?
No, bilingual means that I do stenography in English and French, 2 languages. That means 2 tongues.
You have 2 tongues? Would you mind sticking one out and let me see what it looks like? Say, with 2 tongues, you could do a great job. You could wet a stamp and lick a pencil all at the same time.
No, it means that I do stenography in English and French. I also speak Spanish and Egyptian. That makes me a polyglot, I guess.
A polyglot, eh? Well, that's something like a sardine, isn't it? Well, you two shape up as a very interesting couple. Although I must say, Edna, that your shape is more interesting than Charles. Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at the $1,000. Right now, I want you to pay close attention to this.
In one amazing test after another, DeSoto's superior performance has been proved again and again. In the famous waterproof ignition test, a DeSoto is driven at higher than usual speed through a water-flooded street. Water is allowed to splash right up over the engine, reaching almost every part of the ignition system. Yet the DeSoto keeps right on running without missing a beat. To you, waterproof ignition means your DeSoto will start in even the wettest weather. And what a ride DeSoto gives you. The famous DeSoto road tests have proved that DeSoto's Oriflow shock absorbers give the smoothest ride ever known. why, the bumps just melt right out from under you. And DeSoto's sensational blowout tests have proved the value of safety rim wheels. With an ordinary car, a blowout may cause the tire to leave the rim and may throw the car out of control. But with DeSoto's amazing safety rim wheels, special protective ridges help hold the tire securely on the rim and allow the driver to bring the new DeSoto to a sure, safe stop. Yes, friends, in one amazing test after another, DeSoto's superior performance has been proved again and again. With waterproof ignition, Oriflow shock absorbers, safety rim wheels, and a host of other exciting features. See it now at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, the value jewel of the low-priced field.
Mr. Fenneman, would you mind explaining the rules?
Well, you bet as much of your $20 as you want on each of 4 questions, and the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $1,000 DeSoto Plymouth question later on in the show.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected Identify the President as your category. I'm going to give you the names of famous people with the same initials as some of our former presidents, and you give me the name of the president. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
15.
15. Alan Ladd has the same initials as one of our presidents. What was his name?
Abraham Lincoln.
You're on your way. You have $35.
How much you betting?
At 35.
No,
35. How much have they got?
They have 35.
They got 30.
$30. Jack Benny has the same initials as one of our presidents. What was his name?
James Buchanan.
James Buchanan is right.
You're climbing. You have $65.
We bet everything.
You have to consult Edna on this.
Save $1.
How much?
How much?
We'll save 64
What do we have?
then.
Make it 64.
The $64, huh? Actress Mona Freeman has the same initials as one of our presidents. What was his name?
Millard Fillmore.
Oh, this fellow's too smart.
You now have $129.
What have you been reading before you came down here tonight, huh?
Shoot it off.
All right, here's your last chance. Now she's got confidence in you. Now she says, shoot it all. That's a woman for you, huh? Here's your last chance to be the other couples. You're going to bet the works, $129, huh? Rex Harrison has the same initials as one of our presidents. What was his name?
Rex. No, Rutherford Berkshire Hayes.
That's right. You're too good. You better give him a big kiss for answering all those questions, huh? Put it back, kid. You're too smart. Huh?
And you wind up with $258. Thank you.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Boy, that fellow was a wizard.
He sure was. We invited some...
I hope you learned something from that man, Fenneman, huh?
Virtue, huh? We invited some girl tennis players
No,
to
he's
the
really a
program
very
tonight,
bright fellow, Fenneman.
and some boys from the city playgrounds. And just before we went on the air, we selected Miss Beverly Baker and Leland Kolka. And here they are. Youngsters, meet Groucho Marx.
Well, Beverly Baker and Leland Coca-Cola, huh? Is that right?
Yes.
Welcome, kids, to You Bet Your Life. Say the secret word and divide $100. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Beverly Baker, right? That name rings a bell. Where are you from, Beverly?
Santa Monica.
How old are you, Beverly?
21.
21. Huh? Are you married?
No, not yet.
Hot diggity, huh?
Pretty close, though.
Well, whatever chance you had to win any money here tonight. Where are you from, Leland?
L.A.
L.A.? I thought you'd be from Stanford. Leland Stanford. Have you lived here all your life?
Yes.
How old are you, Billy? Leland?
8.
8? Boy, I thought you were about 8 and a half. Have you got a girl, Mr. Kolka?
Yes.
What does she look like?
She has brown hair, blue eyes, blue uniform.
A blue uniform? Is she a cop?
No.
What do you mean, a blue uniform?
School uniform.
You're from a city playground, is that right?
Yes.
Well, I've done a little playing in my time. What does your playground have to offer?
Football field, baseball, and tetherball, and tennis court, and a sand pile.
I'll bring my daughter Melinda over. She's pretty clever. Last year in school, she got an A in sandpile. Well, she's only 33 years old. Beverly, you're a tennis player, huh?
Yes.
Well, that's a good racket, tennis. I said that to avoid disappointing you, you know. I'm sure everyone you meet says tennis is a pretty good racket, don't they, Beverly?
Well, some say it's a terrible racket.
Why couldn't I have thought of that? Do you make a good living out of tennis, Beverly?
No, I'm an amateur.
Oh, then you make a better living than I thought you did. You hold many tennis titles, don't you, Beverly? You won the Southwest here last year. What other titles do you hold?
Well, I was once the national junior champion.
No,
And I won the Pan American singles last year. And the
Did
Duncan
you find it
Cup.
tough? You won the
Yes.
Duncan Cup, too?
Yes. That was for girls under 22 in Europe.
What is your ambition in tennis, Beverly?
Well, I'd like to become a really great player and reach the top someday.
Well, you haven't got far to go. You're flirting with it now. What will you have to do before you achieve that ambition?
Well, I'll have to improve my form and speed a little bit.
Well, if your
Quite a
form
bit.
shows any more improvement, you're certainly going to need all the speed you can muster. What about you, Leland? Do you play a good game of tennis?
I don't play tennis.
Why not?
Don't know how.
That's a very flimsy excuse. What do you do with all your time at the playground? Do you pan for goal in the sandbox?
No, played marbles.
Oh, really? I used to play that when I was a young man, but I had to give it up. I never had all my marbles. Do you play marbles all the time, or just when you're supposed to be in school?
In the season.
Marbles have to be in season? What do you get a stomach ache if you eat them out of season? It's like watermelon, I guess. Now, is marbles expensive? No, I mean, are marbles no, how much are they a dozen?
A nickel.
A nickel a dozen. How many do you have?
A whole cellar full.
Your cellar is full of marbles? Suppose your father had to get on and fix the plumbing in the middle of the night. Huh? Tell me about marbles. Are they still square?
Can't play marbles with square marbles.
That's funny. We used to play with square marbles. Not only that, but they had numbers on them. I'm afraid your education's been sadly neglected, Leland. I bet you don't even know what snake eyes are, huh?
Snake eyes are... In dice, it's 2 1s.
This kid is no schlemiel, I can see. Well, I've learned a lot about marbles and tennis tonight. I feel just like I'd been talking to Alice Marble.
Oh.
Or Eleanor Tennis. Huh? Now, one thing more. For values in new cars, used cars, or for service on your present car, be sure you see a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. Will you promise me that?
I promise.
All right. In that case, I'll go to your wedding.
Okay.
Providing I'm the groom. Now you're going to play You Bet Your Life. You beat our other couples, and you'll get a chance at the $1,000 question. I can't tell you how much you have to win, but George is going to remind our listeners.
The public stenographer and the Egyptian boy won $258.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected old songs and new tempos as your category. The orchestra will play these tunes in a different tempo than they were originally written. Let's see if you can identify them. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
$10, sorry. $10.
You want to bet a few marbles, too, here, Leland? All right. Jerry Fielding and the boys will play this first tune in swing tempo. You give me the name of it. Okay, Jerry.
Till we
A lower is right. A lower is right.
Well, for a good start, you have $30.
I once went to New York on the train, and I tried to get a lower, but I couldn't. I got an upper instead. That's probably the oldest and worst joke that I've ever uttered in the 4 years I've been in. Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. How much of your $1,000 will you bet?
You have 30.
20?
Okay, here we go for $20. This will be played in waltz tempo. Give me the name of it. Okay. What'd he say?
I can't say.
Well, it's Turkey in the Straw.
Oh.
I don't get anything extra for singing, and you probably understand why by this time.
You now have $10.
All right, now you're down to 10. Now, here's your third question. How much of the 10 are you going to bet? You know what? We ought to play for him. I dreamt I dwelt in marble halls. That's from the Bohemian Girl. That's a little before my time. All right, how much you going to bet?
You say. $5.
$5. This song will be played in rumba tempo. You give me the title. Play, Jerry. Rockabye Baby. You had it right, huh?
You now have $15.
How much you going to bet?
Let's do it all, huh?
You going to shoot it all? This tune will be played as a march. Now, give me the title.
Red River Valley.
Red River Valley! For helping you out in this.
And you wind up with a total of $30.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
We asked for people with unusual occupations to volunteer, and here are the two selected just before we went on the air. Mrs. Bertha Stockwell, Mr. Murray Kolb. Come in here and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, kids, for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say the secret word and win $100. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Mrs. Bertha Stockwell, where are you from, Mrs. Stockwell?
Sioux City, Iowa.
Sioux City, huh? That's where all the lawyers come from, isn't it? Sioux City, Iowa. You're not listening. Huh? Either that or you are, and you don't find it amusing. You're from Sioux City? How? Would you mind telling me how old you are?
Oh.
Within 30 years, I mean.
Number 8 on it, will you?
38?
Yes.
That's a good ripe old age, huh? How old are you, Mr. Murray Cobb? Is
Yes,
that right?
sir. Yes, Mr. Proctor.
How old are you, Mr.
53.
53. Well, you
Yes,
don't
sir.
look it. You look like about 42.
Thank you, sir.
That's
Thank
from
you.
many years season in the sun, I'll bet, huh?
You look young for your age also.
I don't see any point in both of us lying, Mr. Cobb. Now, as I understand it, you two were picked because of your occupations. Mrs. Stockwell, what do you do?
I'm a whistling teacher.
You're a whistling teacher?
I'm a whistling teacher, and I have a school of whistling.
Well, how did you get interested in this type of work? When you were younger, did you live next door to a pool room?
No, I really was washing dishes. And all of a sudden, I discovered that I could make a whistle tone. And I kept on working until finally I had a pretty vibrant tone.
What did that do to the dishes? Anything?
It helped washing.
It did, huh? You have an unusual occupation, too. What do you do, Mr. Cobb?
I'm a fix-it man.
A fix-it man?
Yes, sir.
Could you fix my whistle?
No, but I do fix...
How long have you been working at it?
30 years.
30 years?
Yes, sir.
Must be a fine fix-it man. He's been working at it 30 years and hasn't fixed it yet. Huh? What do you fix?
I fix all electrical appliances, like...
Can you fix a wrestling match?
No.
Can you fix an election?
Oh, no.
Can you fix a traffic ticket?
No, sir.
You get no business from me. You can't fix anything I'm interested in. How much do you charge to fix things?
Oh, it's according. Sometimes they have 3 or 4 scissors. I charge about $0.25 a head for scissors to...
You just said the secret word, head. You said the secret word, head, and you and Mrs. Cobb, Mrs. Stockwell, will split $100 between you. Yeah? There's 50 for you and 50 for you.
Thank you, sir.
Bertha, Mrs. Stockwell, what do I call you, Bertha?
Call me Bertha.
Okay. Would you mind, pucker up, I want to talk about whistling. For example, what kind of pupils do you have at your school?
I have all ages from 5 years old to 75.
Really? You not only taught whistlers, you taught Whistler's mother. Why do your pupils want to learn how to whistle?
Well, it's an accomplishment, and they want to learn bird work.
What do you mean by bird work? Flying around a room or just digging for worms? What do you mean by bird work?
For instance, a chirp, the Huey.
What is that?
The Huey.
Why do they call it a Huey? Is that named after Senator Long?
No, it's H-E-W-I-E. It's the syllable I say. Huey. You let your tongue be loose inside and just say Huey.
Huey, 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 Huey. I'm not bilingual. I can't do it. Right?
Then there's
what are some other bird calls? Okay, I'll meet you later. That's all. I don't know why you didn't come right out and say that. Well, I learned a lot tonight, and the next time I see a bird who needs his whistle fixed, I'll call on you, too. Now then, we're going to play You Bet Your Life. You beat our other couples, and you'll get a chance at the $1,000 question. I can't tell you how much you have to win, but George is going to remind our listeners.
The public stenographer and the Egyptian boy lead with $258.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected famous flyers. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
$10.
Is that all right with you?
All right.
In 1937, a young woman was lost in the Pacific while on a round-the-world flight. What was her name?
Earhart.
Amelia Earhart is right.
You now have $30.
Remember, you're going in for $1,000 tonight. How much of the $30 will you bet on your second question?
25.
What was the name of the pilot who supposedly flew the wrong way and ended up in Ireland?
Corrigan.
Douglas Corrigan is right.
You now have $55.
Here's your third question. How much of the 55 will you bet?
50.
50. What is the name of the famous woman flyer who held many records for women? She's also a successful businesswoman in cosmetics. Talk it over.
I don't remember the cosmetics.
I'm sorry. Her name is Jacqueline Cochran.
They've dropped to $5.
All right, here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the $5 will you bet?
All of it.
All of it. All right. What is the name of the movie producer and flyer who was a two-time winner of the Harmon Aviation Trophy? He produced Hell's Angels.
Right.
No.
Talk it over now.
Oh, that's the fellow that built the boat. Big boat.
All right, take a guess. What do you say?
I can't call his
Fellow
name.
owns the plant out here.
The one that makes the boat. I made the boat
Fellow
down in
that
Santa
was
Fe.
in that wreck.
I know, but
in
it's
that
too-
wreck,
All right.
that's his name.
You should have
right?
known. I
Yeah.
just did 2 pictures with him at RKO. It's Howard Hughes, and you
Howard
should have known.
Hughes, yeah.
That's it.
I know he had the plant out there.
Wait till I tell him that nobody knows his name. Well, you went broke, and we can't have that. I'll give you one more question. Get it right, and win $10, and no help in the audience, please. You ready?
Yes.
What color was the old gray mare?
Gray.
Gray is right, huh?
And that means that the stenographer and the Egyptian boy with $258 in just 1 minute get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question.
Friends, if you want to be sure your car will give you good, dependable service this winter, take it to your DeSoto Plymouth dealers for a first-class winter checkup. The master technicians at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers will tune the engine of your car to make sure it will give you economical operation mile after mile. They'll check your battery to ensure quicker winter starting. Then, for easier shifting, on even the coldest days, your transmission will get the proper lubricants. The DeSoto Plymouth dealer mechanics will step up your generator and check your spark plugs to provide for the increased electrical load of winter driving. The brakes of your car are especially vital in bad weather, so they'll be carefully serviced for safer winter stopping. And, of course, you'll get the proper oil, your radiator will be cleaned and flushed, and you'll get a good antifreeze. All the things your car needs to give you worry-free operation even in the coldest weather. And you'll be surprised at how little you pay for all this expert service. So if you want to be sure of safe, economical winter driving, be sure to take your car for a winter checkup where you see the famous sign of better service. the friendly sign of a DeSoto Plymouth dealer. And here's the stenographer and the Egyptian boy, all ready for the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question, Groucho.
From the way he went through those other questions, I feel this $1,000 is gone already. Well, let's hope you had a lot of luck anyway. Here we go for $1,000. I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you. So think carefully and please no help from the audience. Ready? A hero in the world of medicine was the American Army surgeon who discovered the cause of yellow fever and halted the epidemic in Havana. For $1,000, who was this great doctor? Talk it over. 15 seconds. What's the answer you two have decided upon?
Well, I'll just take a gander. I'll say...
Well known as Walter Reed, so that means the big question next week will be worth $1,500. Well, you lost the big money, but how much did they win, George?
$258.
Well, that's not too bad for a bad night's work. $258. Congratulations and thanks to both of you and to all of our contestants on the show tonight.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this same time for the Groucho Marx Show, when the big question will be worth $1,500. And don't miss Groucho's television show, also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, tell them Groucho sent you. Good night, folks, and remember... just be sure to visit your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Folks, here's a reminder from the National Safety Council. Let sight distance govern night speed. Don't overdrive your headlights. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell. Directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith. Music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.